to rumble. Dr. Glidden here. Thursday, October 24th, 2013. Thursday, October 4th, 2013. Welcome to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. If you haven't already, please visit the website, fireyourmdnow.com. Check it out. Become a Dr. Glidden insider. Join Longevity with Team Glidden. Let us show you the way to health and wealth. And let's pull back the curtain on the utter failures of conventional medicine when it comes to the treatment of chronic disease. Now, you know, we are, at our core essence, honorable, dare I say, moral human beings. Different people have their own take on morality, but, you know, this is evidenced easily. Just go into any city and look for one of those little newspaper stands where you put the 75 cents into the slot. You open the door and you pull out one newspaper. Well, if you wanted to, you could pull out all 50 or 100 newspapers, right? You could do that. There's nobody going to stop you from doing that. You could pull out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 newspapers if you want. Bring one for everybody in the office. But we don't do that because we know it's wrong, because we are moral individuals. We are responsible, ethical individuals. If you were the owner of a company and one of your employees was found stealing money, well, you would fire them. If one of your employees was found disseminating child pornography, you would fire them. If one of your employees was found doing something which did not square with your office policies, you would fire them. There would be reprimands. There would be consequences. That's just normal. That's how they say life, right? Your kid does something wrong. Your child does something wrong. You give them a timeout. You give them a reprimand. There are consequences for negative actions. And this is what really, you know, it's kind of an unconscious ethical charter. I think it's built into our DNA that really keeps society from completely just falling apart into reckless abandon. Unless you're an MD. Now, I want you to think about this. If your child does something wrong, you reprimand them. There are consequences. You take a stand. You draw a line in the sand. The Food and Drug Administration gave the thumbs up for Vioxx, approved it for use for American citizens, for anybody anywhere in the world, quite frankly. It killed 500,000 people because they rushed it to judgment. There was no outrage. Bextra was oversold. Pharmaceutical reps on purpose told doctors to use Bextra for things that Bextra was not approved for, and the company that made Bextra, Pfizer Pharmaceutical, was fined $3 billion. But the MDs were not outraged. There was no outrage amongst the MDs, and the FDA got a walk, and the FDA approved all of this nonsense. Before that, Premarin was okayed by the Food and Drug Administration. Premarin, 1 part human hormone and 2 parts horse hormone, prescribed for a non-medical condition, menopause, gave hundreds of thousands of women breast cancer and uterine cancer, and it is still on the market today. It was never pulled, and your medical doctor was not outraged. $600 billion of medical research towards cancer treatment. We're not any closer to coming up with a cure for cancer than we were 70, 50 years ago when Richard Nixon developed the war on cancer. It was actually longer than that. The MD has no moral compass. If they did, they would have been outraged after Premarin was released on the market. If they did, they would have been outraged after 500,000 people died from Vioxx. 500,000 people. For goodness sake, if one person in your company, if you're a business owner, if one person in your family did something wrong, you would say something about it. You would draw a line in the stand. You would make noise about it. There would be consequences. But the MDs are silent. Their silence is deafening. millions of people harmed because of their therapeutics, and they continue to go to work. They continue to give the Food and Drug Administration a pass. They continue to be the vehicle through which the pharmaceutical companies disseminate their nonsense to the world. You would think that had they had a moral compass, they would have banded together, made a statement, and said, we want immediate congressional investigations into the skullduggery that happens at the Food and Drug Administration, because 500,000 deaths is 499,000 too many. But they did not. Their silence is deafening. The MD has no moral compass. They do not. You can judge a person by their actions. For goodness sake. And, it's easy to, say that you have a moral compass when everything is just Jim Dandy, but it's really, you really can tell the nature of a person by their actions or lack thereof. You wouldn't think very much of a person who is a millionaire and who says, I'm never going to steal. Stealing is a bad thing. I commit my life to never stealing again. Well, good for you. You've got $1 million in the bank. You don't have any real moral standing with me, but the person who does have the moral standing is the person who's broke, person who's in the hole, person who's in debt up to their eyebrows, has the opportunity to steal, and they do not. Those are the people who have true moral standing. Actions speak louder than words, and the lack of action on the behalf of the MD profession over the last 100 years is breathtaking. It is breathtaking in its silence. For goodness sake. 500,000 people dead from one drug approved by the FDA. That should have been enough right there. And, the list goes on and on and on and on about the net negative side effects from drugs, the collateral damage caused by pharmaceutical drugs. And remember, folks, I can prescribe drugs. It's not the drug that's the problem. It's how it's used. It's not the gun. It's how it's used. But my point is not that drugs are bad and evil. My point is that when drugs fail enormously, the MD profession remains silent and they do nothing to fix it. Nothing to fix it. Why? Because they have no moral standing. That's the only possible conclusion. They value their jobs, they value their future, they value their financial integrity more than they value the lives of their patients. And you want to give these people your hard-earned money every month in the form of medical insurance premiums, and now the government is going to make it mandatory for you to buy access to this type of professional organization? They should be ashamed of themselves, but they have no shame. They are Machiavellian. The ends justify the means. Oh, we're in the business of making humanity well. Really? You're in the business of making humanity well? Then please tell me why Alzheimer's has risen from obscurity to the 6th leading cause of death. Please tell me why my father can't remember his name. Please tell me why half of the kids on my block are autistic, while you've been on guard for medicine, while you've been the standard bearer for medicine, while you've kept every other medical professional out of a job. Please tell me why half of the kids on my block are autistic. Please tell me why arthritis continues to skyrocket. Please tell me why high blood pressure is skyrocketing. Please tell me why 1/3 of our children are obese. Please tell me why. But no, it's the practice of medicine. BS. It's the practice of allopathic medicine, which at its very core does not care how to cure. Your medical doctor is not trained how to cure a damn thing. They're trained how to manage symptoms with drugs, and when the drugs create side effects, oh, well, that's just life. That's just the practice of medicine. You see the caduceus on my shirt sleeve, don't you? You see the stethoscope around my neck. I'm the doctor. Listen to the doctor. I went to school with Dr. Oz. When will it end? Well, look, if I only accomplish one thing through this radio show, just one thing, then I will be happy. I'm hoping to accomplish a great deal of things, but the biggest thing that I can do, my biggest accomplishment, from my perspective, will be to make you look at your MD like they're a normal, regular person, and take them completely off of the pedestal that you have put them on. And the only reason you've put them there is because you've been socialized to do so. You've been culturally conditioned to edify the MD, and they do not deserve it. They do not deserve it. Now, I'm not saying hate them. I'm not saying despise them. I'm just saying see them for what they are and then adapt and move appropriately. They are members of a profession that has no moral standing. They do not give a damn about harming people. They do not care. Now, you want to get in bed with those people? Go right ahead. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want, more or less. Oh, well, I'm sorry. You can't see your naturopathic doctor in a hospital. Your medical insurance can't pay for a naturopathic doctor. Your medical insurance can't pay for a homeopathic doctor. Your medical insurance can't pay for herbalism. Your medical insurance can't pay for acupuncture. So I guess it really isn't that free of a country. And who's responsible for that? The MD. So you want to continue to support that profession, go right ahead. The only time, in my opinion, and it's a good one, born of 25 years of clinical experience now, the only time you should see an MD is if you're bleeding to death, for goodness sake. See them for what they are, ladies and gentlemen. Pull back the curtain. Just take a look, assess for yourself, and then make the appropriate move. You know what that's going to be, don't you? Fire your medical doctor. When? Now. Fire your medical doctor now. The best advice I could ever give. I am Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now. Back after these messages. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health, cranking it up today, Thursday, October 24th, 2013. Fire your medical doctor now. You're not going to believe this. You got seatbelts? This from one of my longevity associates up in the Great White North, Corey Prop. And this is how we roll, ladies and gentlemen. Teamwork, teamwork, teamwork. Just got this email from Mr. Prop. Coca-Cola partners with a doctor's group. You got to be kidding me. Coca-Cola, whose sugar-laden products have contributed to a global obesity epidemic, has partnered with a leading medical group to promote healthy soft drink consumption. The American Academy of Family Physicians announced this week that it will receive a six-figure grant from Coke to develop educational materials to teach consumers about the role that beverages and sweeteners can play in a healthy, active lifestyle. You've got to be kidding me. The rationale here is that one of these doctors says, I spend a lot of time trying to explain to people how to approach food and beverages as part of a healthy lifestyle. It doesn't help if I say don't eat this at all, don't drink this at all. You can't get behavior change by issuing edicts. Really? This is the same nonsense that happened a number of years ago. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but the cigarette industry actually lobbied physicians groups to promote the healthy use of cigarettes. Now they're promoting the healthy use of Coca-Cola and soft drinks, which underlines the point that I was making earlier. They have no moral ground. They have no moral ground. They'll do whatever they want to if the money's high enough, if the price is right. And these are the people that you've been edifying your entire life. These are the people that you've been culturally conditioned to look up to. These are the people that you trust your life and the lives of your family with. And they're maniacal, egomaniacal people without a conscience. Now, you know, for goodness sake, all things being equal, they should have banded together. They should have, come together and written a letter to Congress, written a letter, a full-page ad in the New York Times. You know, groups do this every once in a while, right? A full-page ad in the New York Times to express our dismay about certain things. But they didn't do that. They could have said, look, I'm going to stop practicing medicine until this is all figured out. They could have hung up their shingle. They could have said, look, this medical profession is morally reprehensible, and I can no longer, with honor, affiliate myself with this profession, so I'm hanging up my MD degree, and I'm going to go back and get my chiropractic degree, or I'm going to go become a naturopath. They could have done that, but they didn't. They could have gone to naturopathic school to begin with. They could have gone to chiropractic college to begin with. They could have become an herbalist to begin with. They could have become a homeopath or practiced traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture, but all that's beneath them. They didn't. They chose on purpose to align themselves with the MD profession and to gain all of the social cachet that comes in as part of being an MD. Oh, my son, the MD. Oh, my doctor, the MD. Oh, what's that, doctor? You'd like a reservation for this Friday night? No problem. We'll give you a table by the fireplace. Oh, doctor, you need 2 tickets for this week's sold-out performance? Not a problem, doctor. I'll see what I can do. They, on purpose, chose to align themselves with the MD profession in order to gain all of the social benefit inherent to those with the moniker MD after their name. And then, when things start going south, they shut up. When things start going south, they shut up, they clam up, because they're not going to bite the pharmaceutical hand that feeds them. They're not going to do that. For goodness sake, ladies and gentlemen, you know, it's time. Now is the time. Cancel your comprehensive medical insurance. Shop around for catastrophic medical insurance instead. And if you're in the United States, make sure that, you know, it's compliant with the new Obamacare rules, whatever those are, because even the government doesn't know what those are. It's one big, giant mess. But you don't need the MD for anything outside of trauma. You don't. You don't need them. You don't need to go for an annual physical. You do not. You certainly don't need to go to them for a treatment for chronic disease, because all they have for you is symptom management with expensive pharmaceutical drugs that only manage the problem. You only need to employ their services in the case of a traumatic accident. That's it. Or, you know, you get a nasty lung infection. Something like that. That's their domain. So be kind to yourself and step it up a notch with your own moral fiber. Step it up a notch with your own moral fiber. Cancel your comprehensive medical insurance and be proud to own only catastrophic, and tell your medical doctor to go pound sand. Going to talk to Madrew in California when we come back. Stick around. Are we the underdog? Yes, we are, and we love it, because it's the only way to be. I don't care if I'm the underdog. I don't care if I'm the overdog, as long as I'm congruent with truth. That puts me right now in the underdog position. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. Let's go to California and see what Madrew is up to. Hey, Madrew, thanks for calling back. You are live.
Thank you, Dr. Glidden. I love the opening. Listen, I have a gentleman, I met him last night. He is waiting for a kidney transplant, and he's on dialysis, and he's got diabetes.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, so here's the deal, right? The body has a point of no return. It does. But nobody knows where that point of no return is. So he needs the 90 essential nutrients anyway. He won't take the 90 essential nutrients?
He's ready to take it.
Oh, he is. He's ready to take it. Okay, good. So, you know, we can't make any promises here because, for goodness sake, he's on dialysis, and he might have reached the point of no return. He might have. One of his kidneys might be the size of a Calabar bean. I don't know. But I've seen people come off of dialysis on Dr. Wallach's therapeutics. I've seen it with my own eyes. So you don't know what you don't know, and what we don't know here is, you know, how far back he's going to be able to bounce.
Exactly.
Right, and everything's connected. So we might as well just dive in and start swimming and see what happens. So the recommendation here would be the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack and selenium appropriate for body weight, the healthy blood sugar pack, and selenium, appropriate for body weight. 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily capsules per 200 pounds of body weight per month. And a diet that's extremely high in antioxidants. Now, if there's extra money in the bank, you can give him the Triple Treat chocolate, 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes a month. You can give him the Z Radical or the Fucoid Z. The Z Radical, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bottles a month, whatever he can afford. The Fucoid Z, same thing, whatever's in the budget. But he has to have the healthy blood sugar pack and selenium and the Ultimate Daily capsules, because what we're attempting to do with kidney dysfunction is improve circulation. And the Ultimate Daily capsules and selenium are part of our secret sauce to support and promote healthy circulation anywhere in the body. Now, additionally, you got to figure out what he can afford, right? And how many ORAC points of antioxidants are in his nutritional supplement program. And then to that number, you got to add extra ORAC in order to breach the 100,000 ORAC a day point. You got to get over 100,000 ORAC a day. So, he can start drinking green tea, start doing curry powder and cinnamon, and, you can figure it out what to do in order to increase his ORAC. But that's of vital importance, because from our point of view, most of the time when the kidneys go south, it's because of long-term oxidative damage, kind of like, the straws that broke the camel's back, a little bit of oxidative damage every day for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and then boom, everything shuts down in the kidney. So he really needs to clean up his diet, because one of the things that the 10 bad foods do is they deliver free radicals to the body, which cause oxidative damage. So, especially oil in a bottle and fried food, he needs to look at that stuff like it's the Antichrist. I mean, no kidding. Now, because of the dialysis issue, you don't want to tell his medical doctor that he's on this nutritional supplement program. Don't tell him. Because if the medical doctor gets wind of it, he'll look at the potassium that's in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine or the liquid calcium, and he'll say, don't take this because it's going to mess you up, and the doctor's wrong. So the difficult part here becomes enrolling the patient. And if the doctor does get wind that he's doing this, if the MD does get wind that he's doing this, then the patient just has to say, look, doc, I'm going to do this. It's my body. It's not yours. If you want to stop caring for me, then, hook me up with another doctor, because I'm going to do this whether you want me to or not, because you don't know anything about medical nutrition, period. So he really has to draw a line in the sand and say, look, I'm going to do this regardless of what the MD thinks, and the MD will try to convince him not to do it because the MD is wrong, and, it's as simple as that. So really, that's the only potential obstacle that we come up with. And it happens every time with dialysis, so you might want to keep a weather eye out for that storm.
Okay, thank you so much.
Madru, you are the best. Hey, Madru, you call here all the time, and I appreciate that. Tell me a little bit about you and how you got interested in longevity.
Well, I was one of those people. I was going to the vitamin stores, getting all kinds of vitamins and ordering online, things I heard on the radio and all that. But when I heard Dr. Wallach, I wasn't getting enough for my entire body. And I went to a vitamin store not too long ago, and I got every literature they had, and they still didn't have anything for the entire body. And I walked in there and I asked, do you have anything for the entire body? And they said no. And I walked out.
Well, that's interesting. I looked at this happened years ago, and I should dig up these notes because it's an interesting piece of datum. We figured out, wrote down everything that was in the Healthy Start Pack, right? All of the, 500 milligrams of this and 750 milligrams of that, right? And just everything. Wrote it all out on a bulleted list. And then I went to GNC and looked on the shelf to see what I would have to purchase at GNC to get everything that was in the Healthy Start Pack, right? It came out to like $700 worth of vitamins.
Yeah.
Because the Healthy Start Pack is so compact and comprehensive. People don't understand it. It's like, you know, what you're getting for your money with the Healthy Start Pack. It's like, you know, buying a Porsche or buying a brand new Cadillac for a tenth of the price, right? Woohoo! What's this? A brand new Cadillac for $5,000? I'm in. Where do I sign? It's like that. But people, we don't have any real perspective on this at all. Right. So it's a point well taken. So how did you initially hear about Dr. Wallach? How did that happen?
Well, I was actually with FDI, and when we merged, I was there at the convention in Baltimore. So when he was there, I just got excited. I said, "Oh man, this company is going to grow," because I saw some very obese and unhealthy people there, and I was like, "Wow." And I came home, I ran home to my husband. I said, "Guess what? Things are going to get much better."
Well, yeah, hey, it's the tip of the iceberg, really. So welcome aboard, Madru. I'm glad you're here. And remember, you are the last best hope. Your friends, family members, and church members have to live a healthy and wealthy life. So go out there and get them, girl. Keep up the good work. From California to South Carolina to talk to Susan in South Carolina, where the weather is finer. Hello, Susan. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden. I'm calling for a gentleman who comes in and eats in a restaurant regularly. He's a pretty big guy. He was telling me last week that he weighs 494 pounds.
Come on, he's 500 pounds?
Yeah, today he said he's gained 12 pounds of fluid in just the last few days. So he's 506 pounds as of today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and, he's another, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? He is the result of MD-directed medicine. I mean, he is the poster child for the effectiveness of MD-directed allopathic medicine. So what do we want to do to help him?
Well, he was telling me, he said, I got an erratic heartbeat. He said, I've got fatigue, fluid retention, shortness of breath, a pulmonary embolism. I've never heard of that. I had to look it up. Pulmonary embolism and a fib heart.
Yeah, AFib heart, yeah.
A fib heart, yeah.
Well, all right. So all of these things are different arms of the same octopus. And the MDs will tell you incorrectly that you have atrial fibrillation or congestive heart failure or type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure because you're overweight. And they're wrong. It's the same thing that causes people to gain weight that causes all the other conditions. They're different arms of the same octopus. But the MDs just don't conceptualize this, and they just believe nonsense, and it's nonsense, really. So these things are connected, but they're not caused by the obesity. Obesity is caused, as everything else is in the chronic disease factory, by chronic undiagnosed nutrient deficiencies mostly, right? So his body is starving for the 90 essential nutrients. Starving, literally, starving for the 90 essential nutrients. His intelligence in his body, his vital force knows that he's starving for the 90 essential nutrients. And so the intelligence in his body, the vital force in his body, the soul force in his body makes him eat. It forces him to eat. It's forcing him to eat. Mother Nature is forcing him to eat in the desperate attempt to fill his nutrient needs. But the food that he's eating doesn't have the nutrients necessary. And what will happen is certain people, because of their upbringing, will have certain foods that they love. Like, you know, in the South, everybody loves fried chicken, right? In the Northeast, everybody loves fried clams, right, or whatever, right? Different strokes for different folks around the country. So it really was kind of a bad luck of the draw in his case, I'm assuming, because the food that he was compelled, so his body's starving, and his intelligence of his body makes him eat. But the food that he's used to eating, the food that he was brought up eating, is just completely nutrient poor and delivers negative effects to his body. So he eats a lot of the food that he grew up with, and he gains massive amounts of weight. Whereas somebody in California, you know, might be inclined to eat a lot of salad, right? I mean, they're starving and their body's forcing them to eat, but they're eating tomatoes and avocados and fish. Now, they're going to gain weight, but they're not going to gain 300 pounds of weight extra. So, really, it's the luck of the draw as to what family you're born in that makes you go towards different foods when your body is craving food, and your body always craves food when you're nutritionally starved. So, you know, the root cause of the weight gain is nutrient deficiencies, and this is the secret that not even Oprah knows, by the way. If anyone in the listening audience knows Oprah, she needs to call the show, because when I help Oprah gain and maintain a normal body weight easily, we will change the world. We will. If you know Oprah, have her call the show, period. So it's the same thing that causes the weight gain that's causing the blood sugar issue. Blood sugar issue is multiple mineral deficiencies, and the atrial fibrillation, that may be specifically due to, you know, 350 extra pounds of weight. And the pulmonary embolism, that's an interesting thing. That's most probably an essential fatty acid deficiency. So, look, we just need to fill this guy's tank up. Is there an upper limit for how much he can spend every month? Do you have any idea, Susan?
I haven't asked that, but so I'm not really sure.
Okay, well, you know, because it's dosed on body weight, right? So he's 500 pounds. So,
exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So stick around. We're up against the hard break, Susan.
Okay.
When we come back, I'll dial this in for you, and we'll take a stab at it and see what we can do for your friend. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we do it. We lift people in our communities up. You want to get involved with something like that? It's a click away. FireYourMDNow.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, finishing out the first hour on Thursday, October 24th, 2013, talking to Susan in South Carolina about someone who she knows who's 500 pounds. So holy smoke, Susan, you know, I got to start somewhere. So in a perfect world, this individual would do 5 healthy blood sugar packs a month and 5 bottles of selenium. 5 healthy blood sugar packs and 5 bottles of selenium. That would be an excellent place to start. And 5 bottles of plant-derived minerals. Now, failing that, give him 2 healthy blood sugar packs, 5 bottles of selenium, and 5 bottles of plant minerals. Now, if you can't afford that, give him that program plus 4 bottles of plant minerals, or 3 bottles of plant minerals, or 2 bottles of plant minerals, or 1 bottle of plant minerals. All right? At the very least, I want him to take 2 healthy blood sugar packs, 4 bottles of selenium, at the very least, and 1 plant-derived minerals, at the very least. Of course, he also needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods. And for the first month, we want him just to be comfortable with learning how to take the supplements regularly and eliminating the 10 bad foods. That's enough to do for month number 1. Month number 2, and he'll lose weight. Just by eliminating the 10 bad foods, he'll lose weight without even trying. Starting in month number 2, we dial in exactly the same program. Eliminate the 10 bad foods, take the nutritional supplements that he can afford every day. And starting in month number 2, he also dials in 1,500 calories or less a day. 1,500 calories or less a day. 1,500 for him or less a day. And if he's jonesing for calories, jonesing for food between meals, while he's dialing in a lower calorie diet, he can increase his dose of Beyond Tangy Tangerine or the plant minerals. So if between lunch and dinner he's craving calories, instead of eating calories, he can have 1 more dose of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine or 1 or 2 ounces of the plant-derived minerals. He can just throw that down, and that will curb his appetite. Now, once he's on a 1,500 calorie a day diet, he'll start losing weight rapidly. And really, with someone who's 500 pounds, slow and steady wins the race. I don't want him to go on the ASAP diet. I don't want him to do that for at least 6 months. I don't even want him to do anything else other than the appropriate healthy pack and selenium and plant minerals and eliminate the 10 bad foods and dial in a limited calorie diet for 6 months. And then we'll see how he's doing. And then after the 6th month, we can do an aggressive weight loss thing if we want. We might not need to, because it's much better and easier to lose weight slowly and steadily over the course of a year or two than it is to lose, 100 pounds in 1 month, right? I don't like that. That gets dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So, and with just a little bit of nutrients here, just a little bit, there are switches that are going to be turned on in his body that have been turned off his entire life. So I would anticipate even throwing one healthy start pack into his body, it's going to give him a noticeable, measurable, positive change. So, we got to start somewhere, right? One of the beauties and one of the secrets to Dr. Wallach's therapeutic effectiveness is because he used to be a veterinarian, and he wasn't just a vet, he was the world's leading veterinarian pathologist. Wallach was in charge of $25 million because he was the best at what he did. But veterinarians dose their animals on their body weight. And so when Dr. Wallach became a naturopathic physician, he started doing the same thing with human patients, and guess what? It works. So, in a perfect world, he needs the 500-pound dose, but if his budget doesn't allow it, give him the 300, 200, or whatever. We got to give him something, and something is better than nothing. So don't neglect the importance, however, of the full dose, and if he can work up to that, then that would be a beautiful thing. And remember, because longevity is a networking business, if he feels so inclined, there is a way that he can offset the cost of the supplements by becoming a longevity member. Even for $10, he can offset the cost of the supplements. So don't neglect to float that idea to people who, need a substantial amount of stuff every month. Susan, regretfully, we're up against a hard break. I appreciate you. Go get him. Give me a call back with an update, or better yet, have him call me back with an update, because I'd really love to track this live on the air. Thanks, Susan. Keep up the good work. Ladies and gentlemen, hour 2 coming up. I am Dr. Peter Glidden. Stick around.